luckiest man alive, Corunna, Spain. The man on the screen had just picked up his laundry and was leisurely walking out of the laundromat when the unimaginable happened. The tumble dryer in the corner is spinning as he walks by. Because his hands are full, he opens the door with his feet. A short moment after he stepped out, the tumble dryer door fell open and the tiniest flame can be seen coming out of the dryer. That flame became a fast inferno, and the shockwaves blew the shop front window and everything else away in the wildest explosion you'll ever see from a laundromat. What if the man was just at the door when the explosion occurred? Not fast, but furious. Richmond Valley, Australia. It's all peace and quiet at this Richmond Valley laundromat, but peace never lasts. Chaos is always lurking around the corner. Suddenly, like a scene from a poor mafia movie, this white SUV comes plowing into the laundromat in reverse. Everyone within makes a run for it, hoping to get out of the way, but none of them were fast enough, and the car sweeps them back towards the wall. The good news is there were no fatalities. The bad news? 6 people were hurt in this freak accident. Professional thief caught in 4K, Greensburg, Indiana. This might just be the most meticulous thief in the history of thievery.
If you could compare him to Freddy Krueger, that's pretty much how he looked.
He came fully prepared with a whole bunch of specialized tools and the patience which many amateur criminals lack. He laid a towel down and began to drill into the change machine. The towel on the ground is meant to catch the debris falling as he drilled. He took out the cash and calmly put everything back the way they should be. This is perfect. He could make a clean getaway and no one would have known that something was off. But there was one thing he hadn't bargained for: the surveillance camera. And he didn't just rob one store. Here's another store where he's caught in 4K performing the exact routine. He didn't succeed at the second store. While he drilled, a customer came in and he was forced to flee.
When he was in here working on it, and I had a customer come in and scared him off, so I was fortunate, I guess.
I doubt he'll get very far, especially with the video evidence currently available to the law. The couple with the metal broomsticks, Los Angeles, US. It was 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning when the owner of the laundromat on the corner of Hillhurst and Melbourne found himself confronted by some of his patrons. His name is Carl Swanson.
Saying that she's gonna mess me up.
He was simply cleaning up his floor and getting ready for the day when a powerful punch landed on his face. The attacker is a couple who Swanson had kicked out of the laundromat just a day before. The fight began inside the laundromat, but soon enough, they dragged him out of the store, and you can see the woman hitting Swanson with metal broomsticks. It wasn't just the broomstick. She went as far as biting Swanson. The bite marks are still visible under his t-shirt. Swanson's face is totally messed up, and remains so 3 weeks after these injuries were inflicted, and they still look pretty fresh and troubling. The random attack, Chicago, Illinois. This might be the most disturbing of all, as it contains more than a little bit of violence. Watch the man in the orange top. He was simply standing, waiting for his laundry to be ready when a stranger walks up behind him, holding something in his hand. There was no provocation, no words shared between them, just straight to the violence. It's much worse when you learn that the victim is 45 years old. We won't show you the deeply disturbing moment he hit the woman with whatever he had in his hand. It might just be too disturbing. The Hammerman, New York City. Around 4:42 a.m., a man who looks troubled can be seen walking into the laundromat and makes straight for the counter. His aim was to steal from the laundromat, but while in the process, a store employee stumbled upon him and tried to stop him. As they struggled, the thief grabs a hammer and slams the store employee over the head with it. That violent streak allowed him to escape the laundromat without being caught. Burglary in the Bronx, New York. Burglars operate in anonymity. Believing they can sneak in and out is what gives them the audacity to casually walk in and try to grab whatever they can. Watch how this burglar ambles in casually like he's supposed to be here. As he walks, he scans the aisles and his environment just to be certain he's alone. He makes straight for the cash register once he notices the coast is clear. He works faster now. Pulling the drawer out, he quickly pockets some cash and makes his way out of there like he was walking on hot coals. Violently armed robbery, New York. A violent armed robbery is not something you expect to see at a laundromat, but at this point, are you really surprised? Watch the man standing by the door. Your antennas are peaked sharply because he looks like he's up to no good. And the next time we see the man come into the video frame, he is wielding a silver handgun, pointing it straight at the employee at this laundromat. Reports suggest he didn't just show her the gun, he also shoved her before grabbing about $500 in cash and dashing away as quickly as he had come. Police are yet to get their hands on him despite the clear picture of his face suspects caught on the surveillance camera. The loudmouth at the laundromat, Columbus, Ohio. A 911 call was made on the 5th of November 2022 around noon. The caller? An employee at the laundromat in West Broad Street said a very irate customer is at the laundromat and her boss would like this individual removed from the premises. Here's a record of the 911 call.
911, what is your emergency?
I have a very irate customer. My boss was just in here and she wants her removed off the property. And I know when I go to tell her to leave, it's going to cause a big scene because she's being really irate and violent and disrespectful. And
How is she being violent?
She's like, yeah, well, not like violent like physically, but like yelling across the room, cussing people, talking about because I'm skin black and all this other stuff. Like, bro, just can you leave? Like, can you get off the property?
The woman wasn't just being loud. She had also exhibited some violent behavior like yelling at other customers. The officers soon arrived on the scene and walked up to the woman. Before they tell her anything, she is already going off at them.
You want my money back? No.
She was not interested in a conversation. She was adamant that she wasn't going anywhere. As she maintains, she is only being treated this way because she's black.
You're gonna have to leave.
Well, I need some of my money back too.
You're gonna have to call the management on that.
Why am I leaving and my clothes are in the dryer? Because I'm black?
No, it has nothing to do with
It
that.
has to be. I'm the only black person in here.
No, there's other black people.
Where at?
There's black people that come in here all the time.
Even after she begins to pack up her things, she wouldn't relent with the constant attacks. She keeps yelling as she packs and goes ahead to threaten the police on scene with the police.
You got the Mexicans over here on the racks.
Do not call the police.
Call the police, Tanya. That's my phone.
No, we are the
That's my phone. Call the police.
Do not call the
She
police.
called the police. Put them on speaker.
I believe she made the call and demanded another set of officers, while she called the other officers Mexicans.
Get the restaurant closed. I ain't leaving no clothes here for these bum-ass Mexicans. They need our clothes. Hello? Yes, can you send the police to this business, please?
She eventually leaves, carrying her clothes with her, but she never stopped yelling at the business or the cops outside. Outside, she pauses and tries again to call the police because she didn't believe the officers that came for her were real officers.
See, I don't see no address on this business. It's
3090 West Broad.
It's 39 West Broad.
3090.
3090 West Broad.
And
Yes, I'm right here listening. I got this officer in my face being real threatening.
here, she loads her things in her car, finally ready to leave. The baby and the spinning washer, Camden, New Jersey. Here's the crazy moment a man places a baby in a washer. It was probably some game for this young father, but matters escalated very quickly when the doors of the washer closed automatically and the spinners began to turn with the 1-year-old child locked inside. The child had been brought to the laundromat by her babysitter who thought she could get a chore done while watching the child. The sitter had a friend with her at the laundromat, and it was this friend who picked up the baby and playfully placed her in the washer. They were crazy with worry, running around in panic as they sought for help. Luckily, a laundromat employee came to the rescue. First, he turned the machine off and got the baby out of the machine. The babysitter never told the baby's mother what happened, and she ended up seeing it in the news.
You can't tell me that ain't my... I said, that's my baby and that's her.
What would you do if you were in her shoes? Here's the adorable baby, unharmed by the foolishness of her nannies. The unintended mass shooting, Queens, New York. 2 men in black hoodies can be seen walking along 37th Avenue in Queens on the 31st of March 2021. And while these men looked very dangerous, no one could have predicted the hell they would go on to raise in a matter of minutes. Behind the shooters, you have the cavalry, 2 men following behind in what's meant to be their escape pod, scooters. Out of the camera frame, 3 men were lounging up the street. All 3 were members of the dreaded Trinitarius gang. These gang members were the target, and soon enough, the bullets start flying. A few stores away from where the Trinitarios were hanging out, a party was going on. This is where the troubles went beyond the careful plans of the shooters as bullets flew and caught innocent bystanders who did nothing except be in the wrong place at the wrong time. 10 people were hit that night, but luckily none of these gunshot wounds are deemed life-threatening. Another tumble dryer fire. In the Chaiyapoon province of northern Thailand, people were undergoing their usual laundry routine when something very unusual happened. The clothes inside the tumble dryer overheated and the dryer caught fire. 2 women and a kid sat right in front of that dryer as the flames started, and the moment it began, it grew quickly, causing the woman to rise and take a step away. The mother quickly pulls the child away as everyone tries to put a distance between themselves and the fire. Employees have a fire extinguisher ready, but they appear uncertain on how best to fight the fire. They were smart to be wary because the moment they opened the dryer doors, the flames got more oxygen and flared up, defying the first extinguisher. They eventually managed to get it under control without damage to any other part of the laundromat. The Bunny Burglar, Quincy, Massachusetts. This might be the funnest burglary ever caught on tape. The burglar is in a bunny suit as he breaks into a laundromat and grabs practically anything of value he could find. His movements are simply comical. From the moment he snuck into the laundromat to the moment he got everything he wanted and snuck out the same way he had come. You can't help but laugh at the whole thing. Another car crashes through a laundromat, Lee, New Hampshire. A man is standing by the washer, taking care of laundry when out of nowhere, a car comes crashing through the laundromat. It is the most unusual thing, except we've seen something similar earlier when the van plowed through a laundromat. Why are cars crashing through laundromats? The man washing in the laundromat didn't have any time to think, and while the car missed him, it got his leg just a little bit, but nothing was damaged. The man makes his way around the car and tears out of the laundromat like his pants were on fire because everything was so unreal. Transgender attacked at a laundromat, Washington, D.C. Homophobic events are fairly common now, but when you witness it, you're shocked all over again by what it turns sane people into. When this nice-looking family walked into the laundromat with their kids, you wouldn't imagine they came bearing some hate in their hearts. You can see the moment the woman squared up for a fight, taking off her slippers and taking the fighting poise. It was the husband who delivered a direct punch before his wife and the others joined in, rushing with glee to punch and kick the now defenseless trans woman. Reports say the trans woman was stabbed in the ensuing madness. They had bombarded the trans woman with anti-LGBTQ slurs, leading the police to consider charging them all with hate crime. They promptly left the laundromat after the melee, but the cops rounded them up the next day. Robbed and dragged, Philadelphia. On the 12th of December 2022, around noon, a man walked leisurely into what appears to be a grocery store. 3 boys come in almost immediately after him. At first, you'd think they'd all come in to make a purchase, but they grab the first man and drag him into the laundromat within the building. He is dragged around the laundromat, robbed, and abandoned just as quickly as they had shown interest in him. The brazen kidnap attempt, California. Have you ever witnessed a kidnapping? Watch the woman with a child in her arms. Her 4-year-old daughter is standing only a few feet from her, which should guarantee her safety, right? The kidnapper didn't seem to care. He simply pushed the door open and grabbed the girl quickly. The mother and the other customer ran after the kidnapper, but the child broke free and ran back to her mother. Assault at a laundromat, New York. The woman in the brown leather jacket is currently wanted for assault and robbery. At first, she looked like a customer, but her movement appeared to be suspicious as she seemed to wander about without purpose. Everything changed when she made her way to the counter, a place that's reserved only for employees, and bent to pick something up. An employee of the laundromat challenged her, and she snapped, repeatedly hitting the female Walmart employee over the head with a bottle of soap. She continued to hit her until she fell. After the employee fell, the aggressor quickly made away with a cart filled with items from the store. Machete attack in the Bronx, New York. A machete wielder is caught on camera as he ran into a Bronx laundromat with a machete in his hand. It's one of those bizarre things you can't grasp immediately, as it seemed very random, but the machete wielder had a target, an 18-year-old playing video games inside the laundromat. He took the first swing with the machete and missed. He swung again, and this time, he slashed the boy's arm before running out of the laundromat. This appears to be a targeted attack, as the machete wielder had 2 accomplices waiting in the vehicle outside the laundromat. He jumped right in and they drove off quickly.